Once upon a time, there was a bunny duchy. Yes, it does exist. And the Duke wanted to marry, and his name was Kune. And he found a beautiful princess called Lakia. And so the wedding was set. But all turned sour across the land. It's divorce. Hello and welcome to the Friday Fantasy Show from the Bottled Imp, exploring the realms of fantasy. My name is Ken Boyter and today we are looking at Kune and Lakia. Now this is a game from LudiCreations and it's designed by Babis Giannios. No, I'll try that again. Giannios? That's got to be close, surely. Anyway, this is a two-player card game with a lot of take that to it. And I'm not talking about the pop group. So, let's check it out and find out what it's all about. So, what's in the box? Let's take a look. As you can see, it's a smallish box. This is a card game and they say it takes roughly 30 minutes, 45 minutes to play. And what you do get is this little booklet here, which is very lovely. And it's full colour, obviously, as you can imagine nowadays, most things are full colour. Plus you get cards and you get tokens. So let's take a closer look at exactly what they are. They are these cards here, which are player cards. So basically they're not cards that you play in itself, they just denote which character you're going to play, either the Duke Kune or the Princess Lakia. Then you get property cards, there's 10, and they do have specific, one's got a K on it and one has an L on it to denote that one's for the princess, one is for the Duke, although subsequent games you can mix and match those. We'll get into that in a second. There are plot cards, which are these, and I've set the game up as you would actually start playing it. So there are plot cards, there's 25 of those. And there are 10 courtier cards, and they're double-sided. So you have a white side, you have a purple side, and again we'll go into the reason why that is the case. You have a blue side and you have a red side. So let's just put them back. Then we have also the edge card, and I'm not talking about the pop group. It's very music orientated, this, isn't it? And we have 5 council carrot tokens, which are pretty cool. I really like those. So that is the what's in the box. The aim of the game is, as I said in the intro, it's a divorce. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't go well, and this is meant to represent the court of the the princess and the Duke. And you are a courtier, that's right, yeah. And you are trying to influence other courtiers to your side. You are either going to be wanting the Duke to kind of win the divorce and get as much out of it as possible, or you want the princess to win as much as possible. And so you're going to be trying to influence courtiers to get their special abilities, get their counsel, to then gain victory points, because the most victory points is the winner. Hurrah! So how does it play? What you do is it's going to be played over several rounds, and each round is kind of made up of turns. And each player, you will decide who's going to be the Duke or the Princess. So let's say that I'm the Duke. You will then, as I said before, the first game you will take all the ones that have K on it, and they're just down here. I don't know how well you can see that. They will actually be your own property cards. So if you're the Duke, you get all the K ones. And likewise, if you're the Princess, you get all the L ones. And then what you do, that is your hand, and you will then keep those secrets. So you will just keep them to yourself, and you will play with those throughout the game. If you've played the game before, it then says you can actually pick which one. So you put those in a pile, and then you will pick which cards you actually want. Then what you do is you will take the 25 plot cards, which are these, and you can tell that because it says plot at the top. And likewise, these ones actually said property at the top. You will then have 5 piles of 5 cards each. So you shuffle the plot cards, you'll deal them out into 5. And that's how you set the plot cards up. Then you'll take the courtiers and you will have these white courtiers face up to begin with. And again, you'll place them under the plot card, so there's 5 different piles. Then underneath those, it doesn't matter which way round they are, they're either red or they're blue, it doesn't really matter for this stage. You will put the matching one under the white one. So as you can see, this is the sorceress Lavinia, and you can tell that by the same picture, and obviously it says it on the same card as well. And then you'll put that under there, and again, it doesn't matter if you put it red or blue to begin with. Then what you will do is you will then place the carrot tokens, one under each of the courtiers. They are used to influence, to mark when that courtier has been influenced, but we'll get on to that in a second. Then you also have this edge card. Now it says the princess starts with the edge card, so I guess the princess should have it. And what this means is that they will be going first. But if you have the edge cards, you can play one of its special abilities, and these are very powerful. In other words, they give you the edge. So what do you do on your go? You have one action out of 4 that you can do. Now what you can do is you can influence, you can actually counsel, and you can also play a plot card, or you can pass. So that's influence, counsel, play a plot card, or pass. Now the most complicated action, and it took me a little bit to work out how to actually do this bit, there's 3 phases within this influence. So if you're going to influence, you can do kind of up to 3 things if you want, and you can do them in any order. So what you can do is you can simply take a plot card, which means you'll pick one of these piles here, and you will simply take a plot card and you'll put that into your hand. Fair enough, that's pretty simple. The next one you can do is you can try to, and again I said you can do it in any order, you can try to actually switch allegiance of the courtiers. So when they're white, that means, you know, they're not bothered, they don't really care. But what you will do there is you want to try to switch their allegiance, because then you can go for them for counsel and get their special ability. So what you will do is you will try to be matching the symbols. Now each of these has a symbol. So for example, we've got a cauldron on that one, there is a sword on that one, there's a crown plus an either or, a mitre or a fan. That one's a fan and that one's a mitre. So what I will do is I will be looking to match those, and I can use all of these if I need to try and match it. So let's say it was that one, it would be a cauldron, a sword and a mitre. So I'd look here and I go, well, I've got a mitre, I've got a sword, and I've got a cauldron. Hurrah! So now I'll simply play those. Now, as you can see, there's text on here as well. Now, I wouldn't be using the text on here. I'm just using, at this point, the symbols. So again, you would make a decision to either keep that because you wanted to use the special ability, or to play the symbol. So I'd play that by facing them down into my own personal discard pile. You place them face down. That's how you know you've used them. So then what I would do is, because this one is white, white can go directly to your own colour. So let's say I was playing blue, and I would then put the blue one on top, which means that it hit that one here, which is Sir Constantine the Valiant Knight. He is actually aligned to me. Now only I can go to council for that one, unless you have a special ability, which means you can go to any of them. So that's how you do the switching alliance. Apart from, if you want to switch it, so say I was red and that was blue, then what I'd have to do is I'd have to do it in 2 stages. I would still match the symbols. Now that they're a different set of symbols, so I'd still have to match those symbols. So let's say I managed to match those symbols and I wanted to influence it to red. Unfortunately, because it's, you know, he's so ingrained in blue at this point, you need to sort of get him to be a bit ambivalent about it. And you would then switch it to purple. So purple's kind of neutral. So you can actually still gain the council for that. Anybody can gain the council for that. But you wouldn't be scoring the points at the end of the game. So you do want them to be your own colours. So then you could do it in the next turn. So once you've changed it to purple, you could then switch and influence it again, or change it, this alliance, to your own colour, which would be red. So obviously if blue then wanted to change it back, it would take them 2 goes. So that's how you switch alliance. And the other thing that you can do is you can resolve an influence effect. So if you did have one, here we go, I've got a property card here that has the word influence, then you can do that special ability. So here it says your opponent chooses and discards a card from their hand. So these are little special abilities that you can do within this influence action. Like I say, the influence one is probably the more complicated to get your little head around, because the other ones, which is counsel, is fairly straightforward. So say for example I was red, I could then go to this one here and take counsel from it. And in this case, this special ability is your opponent discards one card for their hand at random, which is very similar to the other one, wasn't it? This one here would be gain a card from this deck and switch the location of the abbot to another location. So I would then, I'd take a plot card from any of the decks and then switch this out. And you might want to do that because these cards will be they don't go back into the pile. Once they're out, they're out. So you might want, you know, if that's got no cards there, you might want to go and switch it around. So that is how you do counselling. You basically will use your, you can just actually go to them and actually say, I want to do that special ability. And once you've done the special ability, that's when you take the carrot. Hey, nicely designed carrot there, love it. You then place that on there to denote that the counsel has been given for that turn. The other thing that you can do is you can then plot. You can use one of your plot cards. So say you've gained a plot card and you then have various things that you can do on this plot card. Now you must be able to do them, and some of them have more than one, but again you don't have to do all of them on the card. If you want to play this card, you'll pick one and you'll do that. And you will simply read the instruction and then play the plot card. And when you discard these ones, you actually place them face up on your discard pile, because they are going to be out of the game. I mean, I guess you could just put them next to the discard pile. You have two discard piles. So that is how you plot. Now the other thing you can do is you can pass. Now why do you want to pass? Well, one advantage of passing is then you will be getting the edge card, which means you'll be going first on the next turn. Plus you'll be able to use one of its special abilities. So let's just quickly go through these. You can do one of these. Influence. You may influence a courtier for one less icon, which is always good. You can seek counsel from any courtier regardless of the colour. Again, it gives you an advantage. And it says here, plot, you can change any courtier to white. So that's good because then you don't have to go through the two stages of trying to change it to your allegiance. And also at the end of the game, if you're the one with the edge card, that means you'll be getting 2 extra points. So again, it's worth maybe considering passing so you can then gain this edge card. And once you've passed, your opponent will actually get 2 extra turns. So again, there's a little bit of balancing out going on there. And that is everything that you can do. So you can choose one of those. Now, as I say, if you do the first one, which is influence, you get kind of 3 goes, you get 3 phases. So that's probably the more complex to actually get your head around. And then what you do is the end of the game is when 3 of these plot decks actually become depleted. So say, you know, we'd played them all, you know, your opponent's played them, and 3 of them actually get depleted. That's when it's the end of the game. Now at the end of each round though, you will simply reset things. So the plot cards will obviously still be there, but what you will do is at the end of the round, if there's any carrots that are on here, you will then take them off, and you will then take any of your property cards, not your plot cards, but any property cards back into your hand, so then you can use them again. So each round you'll still get your property cards back. And that is actually how you play the game. The scoring all happens at the end, and there's various different ways of scoring. One is all the cards have in a little carrot symbol, and it has a number in it. This one's 3, this one's 2, that one's 1, 1, some are 0. So that's not only the property cards, but also the plot cards have them as well. So there's a little symbol there, that one's got 0, that one's got 2. Plus, as I say, if you have the edge card, you get 2 extra points. And there is courtier scoring as well. So if you have any courtiers that are face up, you then get points, and they've done a little grid in here so you can score it. If there are any purple ones, then you will then get different scores as well, depending on what colour they are. And also you can store cards during the game, so you'll have your player token and you'll have that in front of you. Then, obviously you'll have it facing you. Then, if at any point during the game a special ability says store this card, what you can do is you can store it, place it under here, and it is actually worth 2 extra points per card at the end of the game. So again, it's kind of worth storing cards away. And that is how you play, and that is how you score. So, what do I think of the game? Well, there's 2 things that kind of bugged me a little bit about this game. One was the artwork. It's very, very kind of childish. It's very sort of 6 years, 7-year-old, maybe 5-year-olds would find it attractive. And if you look at the cover, it's kind of, it looks like it's pencil. They are lovely illustrations, don't get me wrong. I do like them, I like the style. They are very childlike though. And so I was just wondering, the complexity of the game is maybe misleading, or the artwork misleads you into thinking it's going to be a really simple game, when there is actually a little bit of complexity about the rules to get your head around, and the mechanics aren't straightforward. Yes, I mean, it's fun in the terms of it's a lot of take that going on, but there is actually more strategy than I first thought was going to be in this game. So I was slightly confused by the artwork. It does say, what does it say? Yes, it's 12 plus the age group on the box. So, and again, it's 30 to 45 minutes. So if I was a 6-year-old, I'd love the illustrations, but I'd have no idea how I was going to play it. So that was a little bit misleading. That said, it didn't put me off though. What I would say though is the rule book was, I just didn't get on with it. I mean, it's nicely done, don't get me wrong, and it looks, I mean, they have thought about it, but I did struggle. It just wasn't clear enough, especially the influence phase, that first one where you can do 3 bits of, you know, business, you can do 3 phases within that turn, within that action. Confused me. It was a bit tricky to work out how it all came together. What I would recommend is read every single word in this booklet, because there are other things at the game here where it says, oh, it also says about, I mean, I've not mentioned it, burning cards. Sometimes it says when cards are burnt, it means it's out of the game. There are other things like storing cards, gaining cards, property rights. That's it. If it says you can steal a card, a property card from your opponent, you have to give one back as well. So there's common knowledge as well. Like you can count how many of the plot cards are there, but you can't actually look at them. Now, so there's lots of information past the actual rules, if you see what I mean. So I'd recommend reading it in full, maybe 2 or 3 times. Maybe it was just us, maybe we're not that bright, but I just felt it could have been clearer. That said, the actual game does play well. Once we figured it out, we then really started to enjoy it, because you can go, right, I've got one thing I can do that, I can do that, and you start to, once it clicks, that's when we started having fun. And what we liked about it was the fact that, yes, there's a lot of take that. So you go, yeah, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to screw you over, I'm going to change that for you, I want one of your cards, you need to discard a card. Lots of those mechanisms are going on, and obviously you can expect that because the whole theme is about divorce. So it really did match its theme. I did enjoy it, we did enjoy it. And what happened, we just kind of ran out of time because we wanted to play it again, but we ran out of time. So it's like, so it is one of those games that once it clicks, it will actually, you'd want to do it again, because then you can start forming strategy. And that's what I like about this game, is that it looks, and this is where the artwork did mislead me, because I didn't think it was going to be that strategic, but there is quite a lot going on. I like the fact it's a quick turn game, so there's not a lot of downtime, so you're not, you know, waiting for a player to really figure out what they're going to do. And therefore it has that real, it's, you know, it's almost like a combat game, even though it isn't. And I do like the fact that, you know, you're trying to, there's a tug of war going on. So with these courtiers, you don't just immediately get that courtier back, you have to then take it to the neutral. So it has that feel that, yes, there's a tussle going on, and you really do want to start influencing the courtiers. The production values are excellent and very good, they're nice, and as I say, the illustrations are absolutely lovely. I just think they were slightly misrepresented. But yeah, I love these tokens, the little carrot tokens, nice touch. I mean, they could have just put cubes in, but they didn't. They put nice little carrot tokens, very thematic in that respect. So I would recommend it, but what I would recommend is maybe watch a how-to video, maybe something like this, how to play, or maybe see people playing it, because the rules, they could be slightly clearer. But apart from that, yes, it's a bunny thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching our review of Kune and Lakia. This is a chronicle of a royal lapine divorce. Lapine? I think it means bunny, doesn't it? Lapine divorce foretold. Yes, good fun. If you like take that type of games where you're trying to screw other players over, it is good fun. And it has got a surprising amount of strategy in it. It's 2 players, it's 30 to 45 minutes. I'd say that's pretty much on the money there. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching. We do have lots of other reviews on our channel, so go watch them.